Mike Evans is the only receiver to begin his career with 10 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons.
Touchdown, Tampa Bay!
Blitz coming.
Oh, ain't that something? Drums came in, you ain't see that coming.
The NFL is full of great receivers, but for some, their talent and on-the-field accomplishments are overshadowed by more flashy and hyped-up players. This is where Mike Evans comes in. Welcome to American Baller, where we focus on all things NFL. Don't forget to subscribe and ring that bell for future videos. Standing at a whopping 6 foot 5 inches tall and weighing 225 pounds, this behemoth of a wide receiver is often forgotten by many, and only we are to blame. If Evans is able to go for 1,000 receiving yards this season, he will tie Jerry Rice for the most consecutive 1,000-yard seasons in NFL history. He's done this while having players like Mike Glennon, Josh McCown, and Blaine Gabbert. In today's video, we're going to cover why Mike Evans is the most underrated quarterback elevator of this generation, and why it's time that we give the man the respect he truly deserves. Lucky for you, you'll be surprised by this man's Hall of Fame caliber resume. Born and raised in Galveston, Texas, he attended Ball High School, where he played football, basketball, and ran track. Since his childhood, Mike has always been an elite athlete who stood out against his competition in almost any sport he tried. In basketball, Mike averaged a respectable 18.3 points, 8.4 rebounds, and 5.2 assists in his senior season at Galveston Ball High School. He didn't begin his football career until his senior year of high school. Despite this, his talent was undeniable and was recruited by Texas A&M after only playing the sport for a single season. Entering senior year, his life took a massive turn. Mike began to love football even more than basketball and earned second-team District 24 4A honors after he made 25 receptions for 648 yards and 7 touchdowns. While these are not mind-blowing stats by any means, they're extremely impressive when taking into account how serious the talent pool is in Texas high school football, along with the fact that Evans had only been playing the sport for one season. In track and field, Evans dominated in a wide array of events. His personal best leap in the triple jump came out at 14.11 meters. Mike also posted a 4.54 time in the 40-yard dash and a 6.28 meter personal best record in the long jump. When the world saw this young prospect just blazing through the world of football, basketball, and track, something crazy happened. He was given a full scholarship and recruited by Texas A&M, where he teamed up with Johnny Manziel, who then became one of the best quarterback-wide receiver duos we saw in all of college football. When these two forces combined, they had 151 receptions, a whopping 2,499 receiving yards, and 17 touchdowns, posting some of the best numbers in Texas A&M history. After an incredible run together, they were both selected in the first round of the 2014 NFL Draft. Evans went 7th overall to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, while Manziel was picked 22nd overall by the Cleveland Browns. Numbers don't lie. As someone once said, numbers don't lie. It's a complete fact. After getting drafted by the Bucs, he quickly took the NFL by storm with a record-breaking rookie year. By the end of the season, he had already pulled in 68 receptions for 1,051 yards and 12 touchdowns, breaking the franchise record for single-season receiving touchdowns. Since then, he's gone on to break this 12-touchdown threshold in 4 seasons, finding the end zone 12 times in 2016, 13 times in 2020, 14 times in 2021, and 13 times in 2023. Currently, he holds the 1st through 5th spots in the Buccaneers record book for most single-season receiving touchdowns. If that wasn't enough, Mike Evans is one of only 2 people in the history of the NFL who have 10 consecutive 1,000 yards receiving in a row. Evans began his streak in his rookie season and could finish his career as the only wide receiver in NFL history to never finish a season with less than 1,000 yards. The only other guy to ever do that is Jerry Rice, but it could be argued Mike's accomplishment was on a different level. Rice spent his best years with Hall of Fame quarterbacks like Joe Montana and Steve Young. The same cannot be said for Evans. While Evans did spend 2 years with the GOAT, Tom Brady, it's been tough sledding the rest of his career. Since joining the Buccaneers in 2014, Evans has received passes from Mike Glennon, Josh McCown, Jameis Winston, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Blaine Gabbert, and Baker Mayfield. While some wide receivers would despise playing with quarterbacks who spent most of their careers as backups, Mike shows so much love and appreciation to McCown, remembering the good days. Unsurprisingly, some of Evans' best years in the league came when Brady was at quarterback. Even with Brady being in his 40s during his run with the Bucs, he's been by far the most talented quarterback Mike has ever shared the field with in the NFL. When you see Mike's stats, you'll be blown away. Why? Well, the dude has 772 receptions with a whopping 11,800 yards and a stellar 96 receiving touchdowns, which is why he's one of the greatest wide receivers of all time. But do you want to know something even more interesting? This is only Mike's 11th year, and if you talk about Mike's yardages per year, he's only been in the top 10 4 out of 10 times. And that's where today's actual topic comes in. When you take into consideration the fact that he's never really been the best one to ever do it in any given season, that's why I think he's been slept on for so long. Mike Evans' underrated career. Mike hasn't been at the very top every year, but this is an impossible feat for any player. But one thing is for sure, in his position, he's one of the best to ever do it. We live in an attention economy where the number one of anything gets all the hype, and even if someone else gets the job done at a high level, they might be overshadowed by the guys that are above. However, Mike has consistently performed at an elite level, with many mind-blowing plays and records that many were never able to achieve. Year after year, he's been making moves that many other players couldn't. He has stats better than many of your favorite players, and we can safely say that Mike is a walking, talking Hall of Famer, and no one can deny it. Everyone is sleeping on the poor guy. The main narrative amongst the NFL players is that stats aren't everything. Why is he underrated in the first place? To understand the level of Mike Evans' career, we need to look at the previous receivers who are already in the Hall of Fame. This will let us see how close he is or how far he must go to be the future Hall of Famer. When you compare his stats to those of past Hall of Famers, you get people like Michael Irvin, who defined a generation at the wide receiver position. I'm not here to tell you that Mike Evans is the best wide receiver of all time, but he's certainly one of the best to do it and someone whom we often ignore. Taking a bird's eye view, you'll find that Mike Evans is ranked 33rd all-time in receiving yards. While this is impressive, it's unlikely that this stat alone would be enough to get him into the Hall. Let's say that for the next 3 years he consistently continues his streak of 1,000 yards a season. This would take Mike from his current position of 33rd and could potentially get him to 8th all-time in career receiving yards, sandwiching him right between Tim Brown and Steve Smith Sr. Finishing top 10 all-time almost guarantees your trip to the Hall of Fame, and Evans is well on his way to punching his ticket. Final verdict. So, in the end, is Mike Evans the most underrated receiver ever? While you can make a case for various other receivers being criminally overlooked, it's hard to say that anyone has been overshadowed worse than Evans. Do you agree? Let us know in the comments down below. And if you want to enjoy more documentaries like these, subscribe to our channel and ring the bell icon to stay up to date. Thank you for tuning in to American Baller. Don't forget to subscribe and ring that bell for future videos.